So, we are in the gummy bear room with doing dumpling school today. I did. Somebody noticed that there's the little bears up at top. They're all nice and glowing. So I'm calling this a gummy bear room. It's actually kind of like a desk. Kind of fun. So yes, well, dumpling school. Welcome to dumpling school. We are on episode 6 and continuing expressions and reciprocations. We are doing reciprocations today. Fun. Okay, let's see. Reciprocations. Um, the 4 reciprocations. These basically the things that we're doing is for both UD and SD girls. Both will apply. Um, this is something that we have learned with C.S. Joseph, his stuff that he was helping us girls be better wives, and that's actually the point of this. And there might be some terminology, so if you're unfamiliar with some of the terminology, I do suggest to go look at school. I will put the link in the bottom. A lot of this is based on sorry about that. Information from Chase's work, and that way you know SDUD and all the other little typology pieces. It's great learning that stuff. But today is going to be focusing on reciprocations. There will be a little bit less lingo in here, things that would probably be a little bit easier to grasp. And so, yeah, this is for all women being better wives. You could actually use this with use some of this with like other people in your family, not just your husband, um, because some of this actually does cross over in just making life better for men. So the 4 reciprocations, the first one's gratitude, the next one is representation, and then the third one is peace, and the fourth one is obedience. And those actually are 4 things that we can do for our men to make them actually have a better life, better future, and everything else. And some of this I'm going to be linking over to a book that we suggest for ladies, for the SD ladies. Actually, it actually goes for both. It's called Wife School. It's a really fun book, has a cute story, and it actually teaches a lot of great things that can actually make a better marriage. So I'm going to be talking about the reciprocation and then the 8A's, which ones apply to that reciprocation. So, um, excuse me. The first one is usually a little bit more, well, some of these are kind of a little bit obvious. The first one I'm going to talk about is gratitude. So this is actually doing things that show gratefulness for your man in your life, to for the things they do, telling them the thank yous, uh, finding ways to show that I am grateful for what you guys do. Um, and sometimes basically just doing little things that you notice for them. So when we go into the several of the A's, the first one is acceptance. That is appreciating and focusing on his positive qualities. So with people, especially people we are very familiar with, it's really easy to see faults. And when we focus on the faults, sometimes we forget to focus on the good things. So sometimes people have faults, and we need to learn to accept some of those. But he also actually focus not on the shortcomings, but on their good qualities. So we like to find qualities that we like to share about him, and things that make that person special. And so it actually builds them up. It says thank you for the little things. It is leaving a note. It is um, basically looking at the things they actually really do for you that help you. So, some of the example I have with that is there's times where I've been sick, and my husband actually stepped in and did a handful of little things in the house because I am feeling sick and things need to be done. So, when he does these things, and that's a quality, I actually thank him for doing the little things in the house. Like sometimes, we get really, really busy, and he's like, "Oh, I'll take care of that real quick." I am very grateful when he steps in and does that. Um, and so instead of picking on, let's say, an annoying habit that he might have, I actually look and thank him for the good habits that he has. I, you know, he may be skipping something he wants to do something that needs to get done. Um, it's like, this is not a gripe, but this is an example. It's like I see some neighbors that their man goes out and mows the yard very, very constantly. Um, and, sometimes our yard does not get mowed as much. And yes, I could pick on that, but to me, it's a little thing. I am not going to pick on that. I am grateful when he does mow the yard, which is cool. Personally, honestly, I don't necessarily care. I don't mind the long grass. I actually kind of like it. But anyway, I could pick on that type of thing. Um, but I would rather that he is able to do the things that is actually important, not pick on the little things that are less important. And I am very grateful when he actually does and step up to things. And when I see his effort, when I see his care, um, I actually try to show what that means to that, what it means to us, what it means to me, sorry. Um, it's basically seeing the wonderful positive things that he does do and not picking on the annoyances. The next A is appreciation. Um, this is still part of gratitude. Um, and this kind of goes along with the other one. It is possibly just journaling yourself about the things, how much you actually appreciate him. This is not as much as the things he does and saying thank you for them, but when I write down, like, I will spend some time journaling at times, and sometimes I will write down, like, oh, I really, um, I'm really glad he came into my life because he has actually made a difference in my life. And it's like some of this I'm actually going to show in this video because there's going to be a lot of like gushing on him. But sometimes I actually write this down. I actually have like a little journal that sometimes I copy chunks of my journal and let him see it. And that way he can go, oh, yeah. Verbally appreciating, I actually wrote something in the main server channel, like how much I actually truly enjoy um, my husband in my life. And it actually builds that appreciation. And one of the other ways to show appreciation is that uh, when he has a hobby that he wants to do, one of the things I do is I support his hobby. Um, Now, some of the hobbies are like building to uh, uh, building to actually things he wants to learn and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, he wants to work and do a AI project that needs a nicer graphics card. Okay, let's tighten our budget and see if we can afford that nicer graphics card. He wants to work on this project doing this, and oh no, we're out of hard drive space. Okay, so we'll buy more hard drive space, and even if it means, cutting out a little bit of our groceries and being lean for a couple weeks to basically purchase the item that would be good for his hobby that he enjoys doing. Things that he truly cares about. And the next A is approval. So when we have unmet expectations, this is not an expectation of mine, but I could see it could be an expectation of somebody's. Let's say I expected him to give me fresh roses each week. And when there's it could be really cool to get them. But to get fresh flowers each week can actually be a budget drain. And maybe he did that the first few weeks we were together. And then because of resources and stuff, he stops doing that. That can actually drain that affection. It can cause a problem. When there's an expectation that does not get met, like when I have an expectation for him and it doesn't get met, I have to actually learn how to live with. I have to be patient. I have to have compassion towards that. It is not my job to be critical over it because my words can help him feel more confident or not confident. So part of that is learning to be happy with what I have, knowing that what I have, I am actually satisfied with. This also keeps me from looking elsewhere. So being satisfied with who he is, what he is my approval to him. So one of the approvals is like he wanted to get some courses on this online place um, to learn more about programming because he does development. So he wanted to do a certain amount of courses. I was like, oh yes, you need to do this, and yeah, we'll set aside some things in our finances for you to do these courses because I am encouraging what he's doing. And I am showing my approval being, yeah, this is a good idea. And when he wants to spend time with it, I know I can kind of see when he is actually doing this stuff. And I support and encourage that time spent instead of trying to demand that time for myself. So that is me showing approval for what he is doing and where he's going, and also learning to be content with things that didn't happen or may happen in the future. Because sometimes life can have some challenges, and as we go through, things will get better. But sometimes there's places where uh, finances are lean or time is lean. Let's say he has to work um, extra hours for a project. He may, instead of working the normal 8 hours that he wants to work, he might be working 12 hours or overnight. Um, I am satisfied enough that he is doing the things he needs to be doing for his life and for us, that I'm not going to demand that he is spending that time with me when I know that he has a project going on. So and that is our gratitude section, showing acceptance, showing appreciation, and showing approval. And I am so grateful for my husband. He has been a great help in my life. He's been very supportive of things. He is also he's been very responsible in ways, and actually stuck through a lot of the tough times that we have gone through. Again, I've been married to him for, we've been together 26 years, so we've had our ups and downs. So yeah, all through these, I actually try to be showing these things and helping. So let's go on to our next one, and that is representation. Representation can look a little bit different for each couple. It can be a visual. It could be how, like my visual, how I keep my body, how I keep my home, how I keep my actions, how I have my character. And he gets to set that standard. And early on in a relationship, these are important things to actually work out. They may change over a little bit over time, but these are important things. These are his expectations, in a sense. So, it's like if he expected, and I was teasing about this with, times I've dated different guys, but if he has a expectation to have the house in perfect order when he gets home, that is the representation that he wants me to keep. If he expects me to be physically fit and looking good or looking a certain way, that is how he wants me to represent him visually. So we have the house visually, the home visually, we have my physicalness visually, and then there's actions. And I'll go more into this as like my actions do matter, and the actions I take outside the home does represent him. And for his and I relationship, we both care about people having good character. So both of us truly care about character, and me having good character represents him. So, I'm going to, yeah, let's see. Yeah, there's only one of these. Okay, cool. The A that meets that is admiration. And this is me admiring and praising his virtues. It's basically focusing on who he is, Um, guys or men like to have admiration. And when we compliment him, especially in front of others, um, that actually builds him up. When we criticize him in front of others, that tears him down. So when we praise him in public, it is actually about 5 times more than when we praise in private. Because I could say nice, sweet things, but when I, let's say, compliment something he did and it's in front of my dad or in front of his friends, it actually means more. And the same thing with criticism. If I complain about him and he in public and he overhears it, it actually hurts more than it would be if I actually said in private, like when we're having a little bit of time and like, okay, cool, it's time to talk about what we need to do for the house, and that's a private discussion. That's when that's a better time to do criticism. Complaining about something he does publicly, like in front of like having dinner with my family, or my extended family, or having actually, let's say a church potluck, sitting there and saying, "Oh yeah, my husband does this horrible thing," that tears him down. On the other side, praising him like, "Oh yes, my husband does this wonderful thing, and I really appreciate it." That builds him up. Now I know he doesn't necessarily expect me to do that, but it does happen, and yeah, praise him in public, um, and use private time for stuff, the things that you really need to discuss. So I do, and one of the a couple of the things he likes are representation. Um, he likes it when I actually truly show character, like when I make a promise. He actually truly appreciates it when I keep those promises. Now, there might be reason I can't, but he sees that effort when I keep those promises. When I make a promise to the friend of like, hey, I will try to be there at 1 p.m., I will try to be there. He actually appreciates that I will show up at 1 p.m. even if, whoever I'm meeting does not. One of the other representations that we've talked about is he he wants me to dress a certain level of modesty in public. So, yeah, in private, I will wear things for his eyes that he enjoys. On going on a date, I might wear something a little bit for his eyes. But when I go to work, when I go to um, some type of meeting with people, I make sure that I dressed modestly for the occasion and I dress well for the occasion. That way, because I am carrying that representation with me. Um, I will probably do another video about uh, modesty and dress and all that fun stuff, but I'll just put that there. Um, Also, I do try to remember, I don't overdo it, but I try to speak positively about my husband to people outside. When I'm actually in a social setting and they're talking about, oh, my husband does this or something like this, I always try to speak positively of him. I I might be upset about something, but I am actually going to speak positively about that person, about him. That way, they're they are not left with a sense of bitterness in me, and I can and they see good things in him. Um, so yeah, it's actually gotten to a point where I have a hard time trying to discuss anything negative, especially when I'm supposed to, or share an example on some things. So that is, I am so used to speaking positively about him that, yeah, it shows me having good character. It shows me um, giving him good representation, and allows him to actually feel admired by me too, especially when he overhears it. It's like sometimes, this is just like a silly little thing. It's like, oh, yes, my husband learned how to cook beef Wellington, and it was very tasty. And I would like to have him do that again. Um, and that's telling one of his friends that, and like, oh, wow, how'd you learn that? It inspires conversation too. So, yeah, that is actually kind of enjoyable to do, and it it actually brings a bigger delight to him. Um, And this is not just getting brownie points. This is me just basically truly saying something honestly and, um, yeah, praising him in front of others. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. The fourth one is peace. Um, Peace is part of bringing a sense of peace to the family. It's a certain part of comfort. Um, some of the examples we've used before is making sure children are well behaved when we're going somewhere or doing something. Um, Choosing not to argue um, in places we shouldn't argue, and trying to keep a calm discussion when it's time to actually discuss things. Um, Peace is also trying to make sure that if we do have a conflict, that we resolve it quickly and not have it linger over time. Um, he, as an exploder, basically being a UD man, um, he likes to get the conflicts out. Myself, as a female UD woman imploder, I sometimes want to bottle things up and shove it off to the side. I try to make sure that I um, don't leave anything hanging. So I spend extra effort to make sure that he is um, that we are able to do the talking that we need to do. And that way, it's not lingering to the next day. We're not sleeping on it and have bad sleep. It gives him peace, and it actually gives me peace too. And the reverse is true too. Sometimes, I guess a SD man needs to actually talk about the things going on in his head, and so that he could be at peace and he could relax and have that comfort. So, um, Peace is about that. Peace is also about him being able to enjoy and relax a little bit and not have to be on guard, not have to have um I'm going to say it non-fun conflicts. Um Meeting when your husband is coming home from work, you know, dumping on him as soon as he comes in the door, um, doesn't give him a sense of peace. Having a lot going on sometimes and a chaos going on when he's coming home also doesn't give him peace. Um, Basically, finding a way to basically have a space for him is also very peaceful for him, whatever that is. With my husband and I, one of the things I do is a lot of times when he's had a stressful day, I sit and listen to him. I enjoy listening to his thoughts, what's going on in his head, what's his emotions going on. Um, so I give that space for him to be able to share, and I actually enjoy it. So yeah, I enjoy his rants and his venting and stuff like that, and his frustration with his boss and the applications and frustrations with the project managers at work. And who knows, I might actually learn something from those too. So, as for the A's, um, so the first A is attention. Um, this is showing him that he is the most important person in the world to me. Um, and this is looking at the details of his life and basically taking and opening those conversations instead of being disinterested. Um, A good example is something I had to learn is phone downtime. So a lot of times when we go to a restaurant, I try to ignore my phone. People texting me, people talking about things. I mean, there is a time and space for that, and there's times that things are important, and I'm waiting on a call or a text message. Um, but I try to pay attention to him. I try to listen to him and that whatever we're doing, whatever we're talking about is very important. And like I said earlier, I actually enjoy it. But this is kind of making sure that efforts that I am actually paying attention to him. It's also noticing little things he likes and dislikes, ways he likes things. It's one of the examples of that is that we that I actually cook breakfast for him a lot of mornings. I check to see if he wants breakfast and just instead of assuming. And then I found out he sometimes likes his eggs one way and sometimes likes his eggs a different way. And so I learn those little nuances and how he likes things. And then I actually make an effort to make things the way he wants. And that actually shows that I am paying attention to the little things in his life because sometimes he's like, "Yeah, I'm just skipping breakfast," and that's cool. And then sometimes he wants his eggs scrambled, and sometimes he wants them runny, and sometimes he wants them over hard. And so I kind of check that and figure out what his actual preference is at the time. And yeah, that actually creates a nice little thing that we actually enjoy. And yeah, I actually enjoy doing it too. The next A is activities. And activities is about having fun and playing. Um, this is where we find that mutual satisfying activities. So sometimes interests change as we grow, and he might pick up a sport that I don't care as much about, or he might I might pick up things that he has no interest in. Like I do like doing sewing. He has some things that he's like, oh, cool. I might try this. I'm like, okay, it's cool. Um, but we try to find things we enjoy together. Um, and Sometimes we can end up being more coworker like, where we ignore each other and we're just living in the same space. Doing things together actually makes that actually work better. So we have times that we look and create a date night, um, doing something that we like to each other, talking, spending the actual time sitting and talking. Uh, Sometimes we'll do a movie together. Sometimes we will do a TV show together. Um, Sometimes actually, there's one time he picked up a jigsaw puzzle. It was odd to me, but we picked up a jigsaw puzzle and we sat and worked on a jigsaw puzzle together. Um, we make time to actually enjoy being with each other. It's playtime. Oh yeah, one time we tried playing a video game together. So yeah, that's kind of having the fun time together. Another one of the A's is affection. Um, this one's interesting because this is one of those I never had an issue with, but and it's about that contact, it's about physical touch, it's about that affectionate love, and guys have an actual need for sex. Um, it, I yeah, this one guys actually have a need for sex. Um, but all through the day, um, if he's working at home, I will go up and every once in a while walk over, give him a kiss, walk over and uh, do soft touch to see if he wants to do some soft touches back. Yeah, it could lead to other things and taking a sudden break in the bedroom, but yeah, I basically try to make sure that he is getting affection through the day. Um, and then when he is actually working in the office, um, I do try to greet him and kiss him the first thing he does when he comes home. It I've seen the delight in him. It's still GPG, whatever you want to call it, but it's like greeting him and saying, "Hi, yay, you're home. Okay, and you're okay for a kiss?" Because sometimes he has like stuff in his hands, but like, yeah, I offer a kiss and he kisses me and then he puts the stuff down. Sometimes he puts the stuff down and then kisses me. But it's that greeting him. That's that warm affection coming up to him and initiating that, oh, I want to be with you. I want you in my life. I want to show that affection. So yeah, that's affection. I won't go into any more because, well, yeah, I'm trying to keep this a little bit nice and what is it called? Uh, yeah, I'm not going to get very descriptive with the sex part. So, anyway, on to the next one. The fourth representation is obedience. Um, Sometimes this is doing the things you don't want to do, but he insisted. There is times my husband is just like, no, you're sitting down and you're resting, or you just hurt yourself. I'm going to fill the bathtub and you are going to soak. And so, yeah, that's kind of one of those. Yes. Okay. You're noticing something that I am forgetting to do or not doing, and I need to take care of it. Um, Sometimes when I implode because I um, get hurt by somebody, he's like, no, no, you need to talk to them. You need to talk to one of your other friends and figure out what you need to say to the other person. Um, And this goes under with the wife school A's as authority, um, and honoring your husband's authority. And this is where we can actually ruin the house, being rebellious, um, not reconciling, that he is, whether he is J or whatever, SDUD, he is still the head of the house. This is not like he is. Yeah, it's not really a master servant relationship. This is working together. Um, for For the SD girls, there's a place of jurisdiction and a certain amount of decisions we get to make, but still, he wants our input on the big decisions. And I like to give him input and let him make a lot of decisions so I don't have to. But it's still making him the head of the home. And the example I have is sometimes we have something going on. I try to respect his decision. Um, I do have room to talk and share my perceptions with the decision. Like, trying to think of a good one. This is one of those I got part of it, but if we're making a change in the house, what we're going to do something a different way, I basically may actually do some research and say, okay, this is what I see, this is what I feel, this is how it impacts me. This is basically, in a sense, my opinion, my thoughts, my feelings. I basically express that. And he may have a completely different viewpoint than I do. And whatever that viewpoint is, now he has my perception added into that. And then once we talk and he makes a decision, that is what I go with. And this could be extremely important with kids. Let's say one of the kids wants to do something and I don't feel comfortable with the kid doing that because they may get hurt. I might be trying to protect the child too much. And he's like, no, they need to reach out and actually do this thing. So let's say it's a boy and he wants to do soccer and I don't want him to get hurt. And I'm like, oh no, he might get hurt. He might not do well. He might not make friends. And I could make all the excuses he wants. But him as a dad is saying, no, he needs to go. He needs to learn and socialize. And he needs to get hurt a little bit so that he could grow. He and I would have that discussion in private. It would be a discussion time, not in front of the kids, but with each other. And while we're in that discussion time, we can disagree. But when he says, no, my child needs to do this, I say, okay. I don't bring up my problems in front of the child. I don't disagree with dad, like, oh, your dad is saying that you have to actually do this. No. That is not, it is taking an ununified stance. So when a decision is made, I basically take that unified stance and, whatever my perception is, it may be from me being fearful. But I try to take that unified stance with him and I basically go into obedience. I may not agree with like, oh, my mom did this and I don't want to apologize for it. When he says, no, you need to apologize for it, I will apologize for it. And I will not, I will do what he asks me to do, even if I don't want to. So that is basically honoring my husband's authority and obeying him. Doing things I don't want to do or may not feel like or might be fearful of. So anyway, this piece was a little bit longer. Again, the four reciprocations are gratitude, representation, peace, and obedience. If you want it broken out a little bit more, we have available to read Wife School. I do recommend it. It's a very enjoyable book. It actually goes into a lot of things and how to actually journal some of this stuff so that we can express it better to our men and how we can actually practice and build a quality relationship, husband and wife. So Anyway, this is episode 6 of Life of Dumpling School. So I thank you for being here. Thank you to all the wonderful people in the audience. I am so happy that we have you guys here. So anyway, everybody have a great day, and I will see you next episode.